lives. Story of our lives. All right, spatula. Okay. John. Edit.
You're live, yeah. It says you're live.
Oh wait, I want my sound up a little bit more. Okay.
It says you're live, yeah.
John, edit here. Hello and welcome to Techlandia. How are you doing today? This fine Wednesday evening, I'm John Samuelson. I'm in Beaverton, Oregon, home of Nike, where our motto is to just do it and also pay Kevin Durant $280 million. Over in La Crosse, Wisconsin, we have the charming and dashing.
And fantasy football drafting Kurt Reese. And let me see, we are deep into round 10. And I just took Mike Wallace from the Miami Dolphins.
Mike Wallace from 60 Minutes? He's not a good pick.
No, Morley Safer was already gone. So Mike Wallace was the only one left.
Cool.
I know I heard John T. Spencer took Andy Rooney in the second round because he's a big Andy Rooney person. We have a running joke, Kurt and I, that he is Andy Rooney, just the young version, the young hip version.
If you took Grumpy Cat and melded them with Andy Rooney, John T. Spencer right there.
I like the T, how we're always saying it.
Yeah, I don't even know.
JTS?
Yeah, we call him John T. Spencer all the time, just like Zachary Ty Bryant, from Home Improvement.
Just
I don't
like
know what T stands for.
I think he's actually the same guy.
Oh my gosh, that is funny. I hadn't thought about that child actor for a long, long time.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, a very fine actor in his own right, too. John T. Spencer.
I think they are the same guy. They look a lot alike.
They could be.
Would you like me to introduce myself?
Yeah, you know what? Let's go over. Okay. Well, see, we go over to Portland. All right, so over in Portland, here, I like doing this. This is always fun. Hello, I'm Ted Rosisi. Allison Anderson. I'll be there in a second. I'm soccer mom extraordinaire, driving kids around the globe of Portland, northeast Portland. Okay, thanks,
And
Allison.
sweetie,
We'll catch you in a second.
You need a shave.
Right, Allison, you need a shave. Over in the north, or as I like to say, that everybody likes, the NorCal, we have the lovely and talented, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Diane Main. I am here in San Jose, California, and that is Dobiggin on Twitter, DOWBIGGIN. Oh, I should also tell you what I do, right?
Please do.
I am Director of Learning, Innovation, and Design for grades 9 through 12 at the Harker School here in San Jose. I'm also on the board of Silicon Valley Q and the director currently of the Merit Program.
There we go.
And I've often wondered about your Twitter handle, Diane.
Yes.
I always thought it was just Dow-Biggin.
Well, technically, that's how it's pronounced.
What's the story behind it?
So for those of you who may be catching up later, you can actually read about this in the frequently asked questions section of my personal website. But Dobiggin was my father's mother's maiden name, and it's the family line I've researched back the farthest to the early 1500s, with a lot of help from a lot of other people. But as it turns out, the last name comes from a place in northern England, and the place is pronounced Dobiggin. But one branch in Canada and my branch pronounces it Dobiggin as our name, but then all the other branches pronounce it Dobiggin. So there you go. It's a family name.
I think it's wise to stick with Canadians. I think that's right. The Canadian pronunciation, that's the way I like to go. I love the way they say about.
About.
And it's from years of watching Degrassi High. So there we go. I say stick with Canadians, and you know what? I heard that my good friend Carl Lincoln-Stryker Omelette says stick with Canadians too.
Right, okay, so you just said Canadians and Degrassi. So who comes to mind immediately?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Drake is Canadian and was in Degrassi.
There we go. And he's
I never watched any of that, so I just figured. I was about to say I didn't know Neil was Canadian, but he probably isn't. So neither did he, apparently.
I think all great people are Canadian, really, to tell you the truth. I think that anybody that's great is Canadian. We could go Rush, Bryan Adams, right off the bat, Justin Bieber.
Oh.
Tons of people.
No.
Alan Thicke, Robin Thicke.
Oh.
All that. Okay, well, here, we're already digressing. Let's talk some technology before we digress. Okay, so we have Diane here. She has a wealth of information. I looked on her Google Doc, and one of the things that I wanted to know about, and so really it's all about me. I wanted to know about the merit program. And Diane, which one would you like to start with? Could you start with the merit program and tell us a little
Sure.
bit about that? I think
Yes.
I love that stuff.
So MERIT is actually an acronym that stands for Making Education Relevant and Interactive Through Technology. The T for through is silent and not part of the acronym, but it's a program that used to be called Earn While You Learn, and Rushton Hurley was one of many people in the Bay Area who went through that program when it was Earn While You Learn, and it then was changed into Merit, and he became the director. And after he did 3 years as director, I took over as director. I'm in my second year.
Nice.
We typically do a 3-year directorship. So what the program is it's a year-long cohort situation where we start with like usually a half-day orientation on a Saturday in May. Then we have a 2-week summer institute, which is kind of the hallmark of it and the thing a lot of people have heard the most about. And that 2-week summer institute takes place at the Krause Center for Innovation at Foothill College in Los Altos Hills, which is kind of close to Palo Alto, where Stanford is.
Okay.
And it's a community college, but the Krause Center for Innovation is kind of it's a mixture of part of the community college, but also a place where educators are treated like the professionals that they are. And so there's a lot of classes, continuing education type stuff, and professional development, especially around technology, that takes place for educators at the Krause Center. And after our 2-week summer institute, which is pretty intense, lots of fun, going through a lot of different tools and pedagogies and stuff, we have 4 follow-up classes in September, October. No, that's wrong. October, November, January, February. And then we have a graduation usually in March. And so during that year-long program, there's about 45 to 50 teachers who are in the cohort, and they do projects and do some assignments around some of the things that they've been learning, and then what they can take into their classrooms. They try things out in their classrooms after they've learned about them, and they get college credit for it, but they also are paid. So there are stipends. There's a stipend for completing the summer institute, and then another stipend for completing the entire program. So it's a really transformative experience. I have yet to meet anyone who has said, "Oh yeah, you know what? I didn't get anything out of it." It's always much more the other extreme, where people are like,
Mm-hmm.
"I am a changed person. I can't believe the things I used to believe and the choices I used to make as an educator." But that guilt of their previous educator, wrath, is quickly replaced with just so much excitement and enthusiasm for working with students and trying new things out. And a lot of people who've gone through Merit, as it turns out, have kind of accelerated themselves in terms of what their employment is in their districts and stuff. They've either gone on within their districts to have positions where they're coaching teachers or doing instructional tech type stuff, or in some cases left one employment and gone on to something else where they're really involved in a lot more of that. And a lot of our merit faculty are typically people who've gone through the program, and I have been super pleased with the team that I managed to put together because when this past year I had some stuff going on in my family, they picked it up and ran with all the planning and took care of stuff, and I never have to be concerned as a director that my job is super easy because I have the most amazing team. Lisa Highfill has been my assistant director this year, and Roni Habib is also really involved, and Carl Linden Stryker is on our faculty. In the past, we've also had Megan Ellis. A lot of really cool people. So, and no one is of the opinion that they are all that. It's really we love how much we learn from the teachers who are going through the program. I think they think of us as being a little bit like local celebrity status, and we're like, no, absolutely not. You guys are the ones, especially for those of us who aren't full-time in the classroom anymore, we're saying to our teachers, you guys are the ones that are in the classrooms every day. You're the ones who are reaching so many more students than we get to in a direct way. So it's just a really fantastic program to be a part of. Rushton is still involved with the program. He comes and does some stuff with us, and we get some fantastic guest speakers, and it's just a really, really exciting thing to be a part of.
That's really cool. And right, we had Lisa on a couple weeks back, and she was talking about some of the things she's doing with Rushton. And I saw that. I think that. All right, we were talking about conferences a little bit earlier too, before we got on the air, Dan. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure that Rushton is doing the new. I'm pretty sure he's keynoting the Integrate Ed Seattle, um,
Hmm.
Ooh,
which
Very nice.
I just found out, and I was talking with Tim Lauer last night. I didn't even know that there was going to be an Integrate Ed Seattle,
neither did I.
and
Guess what I
so
just found out?
yeah, and so no, and you know, and I have to say that somebody was saying, oh yeah. There's Integrate Ed. I was like, no, no, you're sadly mistaken. There's no Integrate Ed Seattle. I would know about no, no. And then if you look at the
There
website,
is.
sure there is. And so
Hmm.
George Phillip from Indiana was saying, I think that there's Integrate Ed, and I'm like, you're right, there is. So I think Russian is keynoting when I looked at that
Nice.
one, and I think it's in December.
Oh,
So
excellent. Anybody that
that's
gets a chance to see Rushton speak is really going to enjoy it. He he's just so inspirational, and I'm super lucky because he lives next town over from me. And although I don't see him that much because he's always traveling, we've had a real great chance over the years to spend some good time together. So he's fantastic.
yeah. We should have Rushton on the show sometime if he would take the time. And I'm sure he would. He's just I just remember bumping into him at the Q conference,
Hmm.
and he was just in a session with me, and I just started talking. He just talked to you. He
Yeah,
just picks up
he's
and starts
very
talking to you like he's
approachable.
known you for years. The only way he knew us was Allison and I were in it as a integrated ed session in Portland, and we
Oh,
really
right.
enjoyed it. He's just that the stuff that he does is just I don't know. It's really good. It's talk about
Yep.
somebody who just wants to make a difference. I think that that's pretty much the way and we have to say Carl Lindgren Stryker probably is a local celebrity. We would have to say. I mean,
Yes.
really, in where I'm from, he's an international almost celebrity. He's an international man of mystery. But
He is.
that
Yes.
you've
He does a
created a
lot of
monster.
border crossing. Don't draw too
Yep.
much attention to that.
He's a
That's
big
right.
time
That's right. He does
Canada.
cross the border an awful lot too. Oh man. So anyway, well that's good. And I remember when you told me about that at Integrate Ed San Francisco, and where were we eating? It was a really good place that we were eating. Where
Oh,
was that
that's
place?
was it the sushi place or was it Tommy's joint?
No, it was the one with all like the home cooked meal stuff. It
Oh,
was
Tommy's
Tommy's Joint.
joint.
Then yeah,
Yeah, that place is
that was good
fantastic.
stuff. That's good. Well, we'll have to see how many people go to Integrate Ed San Francisco on the third and fourth. It's getting geez, it's a month away. Kurt, are you
Yep.
prepared with your big speech yet? Your big
I
speeches?
am, absolutely. So this just came in the mail. I'm working on my learning space design presentation.
Ooh.
So Make Space is a fantastic book, and with a foreword written by David Kelly, one of the design thinking gurus. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm getting ready. I'm prepared.
That's another M that I'm excited about. John
That's
and I were
right.
talking about how this show might be brought to us by the letter M.
That's right.
So merit, making, right? In fact, that should go on the don't suck list.
Right.
I
We
ran
should
out
do
of
that.
stuff on the don't suck list.
All right, so that's cool. Well, I really, I think that that's great. So you've got one more. So, is there any chance, Diane, that after you've fulfilled your term, is Carl Lindgren Stryker or Lisa Highfill, are those the next people? I don't know Roni Habib, and I've heard a lot about him and how great he is, and I've never like run across him. I'll have to meet him someday. I hope.
So yeah, he's fantastic. He does a lot. We call him Happy Habib because he does a whole thing on happiness, happiness in the classroom, and it's really super awesome. He did a great thing with with the folks in Merit of just stopping what you're doing and being present and figuring out like is everyone equally present? Is everyone feeling able to engage in learning right now? And sometimes it means stopping everything and just making sure everybody's okay. And just some really good strategies and fun games and stuff that he has around that. It doesn't take a super long time, and just really focusing on the difference that a student's emotional state or anyone's emotional state plays in their learning. As for the next director, it's hard to say because we got to see how the next year plays out with people's full-time jobs.
Hmm.
This is it's a big investment of time and takes a lot of prep outside of your regular job, and it really just depends because my fantastic team are all people who keep getting more responsibility where they work and more
That's right.
recognition. It's really going to be a matter of who can handle what's going on, and people have families and stuff too. So we'll just have to see what happens. But I hope that Carl keeps staying involved in the program. Lisa, Roni. I think that after my 3 years, I have to take a break because I need to say no to a few more things in my life,
Hmm.
just so that I am making sure I'm putting the right energy into, especially stuff with my son. Once he gets into
Hmm.
middle school, I think we're gonna need to devote some more energy there. So we're just gonna see. But I'd still love to go back and do a day at the summer institute or something. I'm
Yeah,
just not gonna.
sure. You should
You
go and like do a little guest appearance here and there. I know that Carl really talks highly about it and talks about how that kind of just took him on a different
yeah.
trajectory for what he thought as a teacher, and so that's good. And Carl is always as much as I make fun of Carl, I really respect Carl and the chances that he takes. He's just a real level-headed guy, and that's probably the nicest thing I'll say about him on Techlandia ever. So otherwise, he's a stinker. All right, so now enough of that though. So let's go into when I was at Integrate Ed,
Hmm.
I took your Minecraft class. Remember, I had technical difficulties on the Minecraft stuff, but
Yes.
go ahead and talk about number three in the doc and talk about your obsession because you are the one of the go-to people for Minecraft. You and Wes Fryer are who I think of when I think of Minecraft.
Okay, so what's really funny about that is I know a lot less about Minecraft than a whole lot of other people who are involved in using Minecraft and teaching right now. I don't get as much opportunity to use it, partly because I only teach one class right now because mostly I work with teachers, and I was only teaching a half year. So all the stuff I wanted to try in Minecraft, once I found out about it, maybe just under 2 years ago, um, I didn't have that many opportunities to try things, right, with my students. This year, at least, I'm teaching, it's a semester-long class, and I'm teaching both semesters, so I'm going to have more chance to play around with it. Um, but Minecraft is, well, it's a game, as a lot of people know, but I like to use it as a virtual classroom in a way where we have some learning experiences that happen and the students do some teaching of each other. I've come up with a couple of projects that work well in the class that I teach. The class that I teach is actually, it's called Digital World, and it's a computer science class for the students at my school who don't want to take programming because we have a half year requirement at the high school that students take a half year of computer science. And there's programming or advanced programming, and that's what most kids take. But there's a segment of kids that don't want to take programming. They don't see themselves as having an interest in computer science or whatever. And so my class is kind of an overview, almost like a comp sci for non-majors, but at a high school level. So we do like the history of computer science, and we do um, like the implications and the impact that technology has on our day-to-day lives and the ways that computer science shows up in everyone's life, like social media, and we do a project on data mining, and there's all these different things that are kind of high interest, but we also do some programming. And what I'm really excited about right now, because Minecraft is just fun, and I find that even kids that are like, okay, whatever, eyebrows raised in disbelief, eye rolls, whatever, because they are mostly high school sophomores. They think, oh, Minecraft is like what my little brother plays or whatever. That
Hmm.
game, still I have the kids who haven't really played it that much. In a few years, I think I'll get a lot of kids that have played it. They kind of see it as not their thing, and then they get in the game and they're like, actually, this is kind of cool. I'm interacting with this world, and I can impact that world. So then they have to teach a lesson in Minecraft, and they have to build a house for another student. We do a whole design thinking, like they go through the design process where they have to, they're a designer and they're also a client for one of the other designers in class. So they interview their client and find out the kinds of things that that person would like in a house and just their interests and things
Nice.
what kind of place they would like. I kind of bounce it off a story called Andrew Henry's Meadow, which is my favorite book from childhood. And so they do all this stuff, and then they end up, a lot of the grading is what they evaluate each other on because they are each other's clients, and they're supposed to go back through that cycle. A lot of them kind of miss the point. We've only done it once so far, but going back to the client and checking, is this what you wanted? Does my vision match your vision? And if not, going and doing some revision, right? I like how revision is like revisioning, taking another look at vision, right?
Hmm.
And so that's the theory behind what we do with that project, and we'll see if it works a little better this year. I was mostly flying by the seat of my pants last year when we did it, but I'm super excited because there's a mod called ComputerCraft EDU that sits on top of Minecraft EDU, which is the Minecraft that I use, and in it you program these little, they're called turtles, but they're like cubes with a little disk drive for their butt,
Hmm.
and you program them with it's not really like Scratch, but it's that kind of thing where there's like visual commands,
Hmm.
but actually you can look behind it and see it's actually Lua programming. Lua is the language.
Oh, okay, right.
So, but you're not actually writing the coding. You're doing it in these little blocklets you can manipulate that are the commands, and you get into conditions and loops and a whole bunch of other stuff, and you program this thing to do stuff for you in the game. So it becomes your little, robot that you program to dig things for you, or mine things for you, or maybe attack something, or build a bridge across a chasm you can't otherwise cross. And you use conditional statements and looping of statements to make it do the things that you want it to do. And it's pretty cool. And once the students, because they're already in that world, see that this thing can do something for them, they get the role of computer science in our lives. Computer science exists to solve problems in our lives. So it takes out some of the labor for them in the game, and then they can be like, oh, I'm going to make my robot do that, and then I'll go do something else and I'll come back, and it'll be done. So I haven't had a chance to try it yet because we're actually starting with Minecraft late next week in the class that I teach. We've only been in school for about a week now. And
Right.
we're doing some introductory stuff, and then we're going to get into Minecraft. And already the kids are still like, I don't know about this. But in about a month, I bet they're going to have a totally different, they're going to be singing a different tune about how we use it. And that's also part of the class, too, that computer games can change how we do learning. And I do a lot of non-traditional stuff in my class. And I want that they're going to write some reflective pieces about the introduction of computer games into their learning and where they see the value in that. So I'm excited about it, and what I like about it is that I don't know everything. Trust me when I tell you, if you're equating me in your mind with Minecraft expert, you need to. I'll hook you up with some names of people that really know what they're talking about, because I'm only about 3 steps ahead of the kids in any given project, and I keep learning, and they change things, they update things, and when I have to upgrade my version, I'm like back in the Minecraft teachers Google group, and I'm, okay, guys, I'm about to do the thing, and I think I have to take all the mods out and put them back in. I don't remember how. So
Right.
trust me, 2 years ago, I think I might have heard of Minecraft, and now because a teacher who actually went through merit last year from my school asked me if she could let a kid who wanted to do his project in Minecraft do his project in Minecraft. And I was like, yes, let him. And then I was like, now I'm going to go look up what it is, since I said he could do it. And then once I started reading about it, I was like, hang on, this sounds cool. I want to play with it. Before you know it, I was using it in my class. So
That's cool.
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, well, that's good. All right, so I'll think of, I'm trying to think, when I went to Ed Camp, Oklahoma City, Tammy Parks is also a good Minecraft person. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll think of Wes Fryer and Tammy Parks now, and I'll think of you
Well,
as kind of a dabbler then,
and
if
John
that makes you feel
Miller,
better.
John Miller and Chris Scott in California.
Okay.
Joel Levin in New York City, who's one of the founding
Mhm.
partners of Teacher Gaming that makes Minecraft EDU. Super great guy. But there's a bunch of people around the world that are doing some very, very cool stuff with it.
I know, I think that was one of the most helpful things to.
Uh-oh. I'm kind of losing the sound here.
That's yeah. Johnny froze on me too.
Okay.
So how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? I think John
One of
knows
those
that, like,
people in the session, and then I went on Twitter and I followed all of them, and
John would
I
have.
lost audio. I'm sorry.
Yeah, now we're better.
Okay, sorry. The old Google Hangout trick. Well, you know what? I was just gonna say that so we did a little offshoot. Jake Duncan and I did Devlandia, and so we had one of my old students on that made an app that just came out on Friday, and I'll put the link to it in the Listly. But so what he did is that's what he used the app Codia, which is like I think it's like a $10 download on the iPad, and he just said that he started making this game, and it was in Lua. That was
Hmm.
the coding language they used, and then he could use Codia to put it onto the App Store, and I think that's pretty cool. And I was like, boy, I have Codia, but I have not used it for that yet. So I'll have to take a
Well,
look at
and
that one again.
I kind of glossed over this, but one of the things that's really gotten people's attention about Minecraft and learning, especially, is that so many young kids are using Minecraft as the starting off point to learn things and to teach themselves things that either won't be offered to them in school or that are still way down the road. When you've got 9-year-olds teaching themselves how to program stuff that they may or may not be offered in their high school programs, right? Because a lot of high school programs don't even have computer science. That's exciting in itself. And so with the class that I teach, as I described it, there's kids that just don't perceive themselves as computer science people. And yet they get into something, they also don't perceive themselves, many of them, as gamers, right? They get into a game and they start looking at, wow, this highly engaging environment is changing the way I look at my learning and the way I perceive myself as a student of computer science. And that to me is important, because high school is a time when a lot of times students are placing limitations on what they believe they can do. And if we can like blow those limitations out of the water, that's I think what high school and college should be about, is helping people see that there's a lot of things they're capable of. And so Minecraft, my experience has been, it really opens up people's eyes to possibilities that they didn't think they were into or capable of. And I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen with the programming piece that we do, is that here's these kids that took my class to avoid taking programming. Because I asked them, there's a survey I give them the first day of class, every time I teach this class, and I ask, why did you take this class? And I've only ever gotten one kid that said something completely different from, it was a requirement, it fulfills my computer science requirement, I didn't want to take programming. And he was self-taught, and he said, all the other classes in the computer science department will be a waste of my time since I've already taught myself all those things. He said, this one sounded like it would be fun. Everyone else, like I've had a couple dozen kids, and everyone else it's like, no, this is because I have to take a class, and, now is when it happens. So.
And I'm doing it now. I'm getting it out of the way. That's interesting.
I try not to get hurt by that,
Right. Well,
let's pretend it was because you heard I was fun. Let's go with that.
Right.
You are fun. You are fun that way.
They find that out, but it's like a sneak attack,
That's when you take it. That's when you overtake one day and you say, "Okay, we're not doing Minecraft today. We're going to make a learning song based on Carly Rae Jepsen, karaoke song," and then you go to town with it. That'd be kind of fun.
I'm sure
you've done that before. I'm sure.
Not in my digital world class, but I got a new group of advisees this year. I have freshmen this year, and I'll have them for 4 years. And the first day I met them, we're out on the field doing all these cool bonding activities and stuff. We're like dancing, there's music on, and like they were all super into it. And then they were like, when we met the next day, they were like, we should like write a rap. I totally think we could do it. I was like, well, that may not be my strong point, but I do write song parodies. And they were like, let's do it. And I was like, I love every one of you guys. I have 9 kids, and I was like, you're all my children now. You're totally going to write song parodies together.
You're like, yeah, awesome. Do I write song parodies? I'm ready to write some song parodies. I know. What did you think? Did you think a lot? Have you seen the 7 Days of Weird Al Yankovic song parodies? Did you think those were pretty good?
Those were coming out during the Merit Summer Institute, and Carl and I were watching them together, because how many times can we refer to Carl in this show?
That's right. Well,
so the second day, when Word Crimes came out, oh my word, it was like, I was a mess. The happy parody, I was a little bit like, okay, that was weird. It was funny, but my husband found it like incredibly tasteless. And I was like, okay, you're not getting the point they're kind of making fun of. And then I was like, okay, this is going to take too long. But then Word Crimes came out, and I loved it because I'm a former English major. And
that's
of course people brought up some objections to it, which fair enough. They made good points, but for the most part, it was just a lot of fun. And then I didn't get to see all the rest because I just got busy, but I ended up watching 2 or 3 more, like the next week or something. And I love it because I remember, first of all, I remember the first video that was played on MTV, and I remember how that whole platform just launched Weird Al, because he was around before, but then music videos became a thing, and that kind of catapulted him into people's, into the general population's consciousness. And he's finally at the end of that contract of writing all those albums. And I'm like, this is funny. I've been with the guy the whole time, and trying to explain it to my kid and like what, how this works. So, and being a song parody writer, he's definitely one of my heroes. So.
I don't know, Kurt. What did you think about? Kurt and I are big Lord fans. What did you think about the aluminum foil one?
I haven't seen that one. What's
that? Oh, you didn't see that one?
That one's cute.
I thought it was kind of funny, and the good thing about that video is, in that video, so we'll drop names real quick. So Patton Oswalt is like a director in it, And then they also have Tom Lennon, who I went to high school with, who I graduated from high school with. And the funny thing is, Patton Oswalt actually married a girl that was in that same class that I went to high school with too. So I was watching that video. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's pretty funny. But he goes off on this weird tangent about like, oh, it was like the Techlarati or whatever it is, and Illuminati. It's pretty funny. I don't know. I definitely think Word Crimes was the best though.
Yeah,
I
that
like
one.
the best.
And it was early on, so nothing was going to be able to match up to it, I think.
Okay. Oh,
What?
give us your 3 Twitter users to follow.
Okay. It's getting a little shaky on the audio and stuff, but
You there?
so the
I'm
first
getting
person,
spotty on my.
Yes, Johnny, I would say that's you.
which makes me sad, but I'm going to talk anyway. Is that good?
Yeah, keep going. No, I can hear you.
Okay. So
Okay,
the first
go ahead.
person I want to share is Jennifer Klosko. She's a principal of an elementary school that just kind of expanded in the Sacramento area. It's Natomas Charter Schools. My good friend Joe Wood is their tech director, and it's a group of 5 schools. They're among the oldest charter schools in the state or in the nation, I'm not sure. But Jennifer she went from being a first grade teacher to, hey, you're in charge of this whole school. And she's a fantastic person. I've gotten to spend some time with her at some of the Q Rockstar events, and she's also spent some time with my son because I bring him with me when I go to those. And she's just fantastic. Lately she's been doing, or since school started, some no office Mondays, where she's a principal, but she spends the entire day Monday in classrooms. And it's a small enough school that she can get through about half of them in a day, doing actual real time in the classrooms, teaching a lesson or working with the kids, or being an aide in the classroom, but really being in touch with the kids and the teachers, and not being someone who's off in some office somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not that long out of the classroom, but she's really got the right heart for this kind of leadership, and she sees that it would be too easy to become one of those administrators that is out of touch if you don't get in the classroom a lot.
Yeah.
She's just got tons of energy. She's got really great ideas, and her name is a little hard to spell, so hopefully you'll tweet that out or share it out. But
Can I spell
Twitter,
it? I love to spell.
Yeah, Twitter handle is J Klosko. Go.
Yep. Jennifer Klosko at JKLOCZKO. And I do want to say, if there's anyone who can become an admin immediately out of the classroom, it's someone who has taught first grade. First grade, holy cow, those people make miracles happen in a year.
Yes. It's a really great age. When I taught in the computer lab at my old school for 6 years, I taught grades 1 through 8, and I was not built to teach those young children. And my last 2 years at the job were when my son was in 1st and 2nd grade, and so I was his computer teacher, and I was never meant to do that kind of thing. I never have been really good with those young kids because I just can't handle it. I instituted parent volunteers mostly because I wanted other responsible adults to be in the room so I wouldn't do something I'd regret. But I was teaching them Microsoft Office, and we had a lot of fun, and apparently they liked me. But oh my word, the days that I taught 1st and 2nd grade, I would go home and just sleep. And I only had, like 4 periods of teaching 1st graders or 4 periods of teaching 2nd graders, and I would just be exhausted. I just could hardly walk. So that's one of my Twitter shares. You had said people who have under 2,000 followers. The next person I'm going to recommend actually has closer to 3,000, but he's definitely worth a follow, especially if people are interested in Minecraft. His Twitter handle is at The Common People, and his name is Adam Clark with an E on the end, and he makes these hilarious and wonderful and fun Minecraft videos. Now, he lives in northern England. He's actually from central England, but he and his son, Django, who's about 6 or 7, they homeschool Django, and he and his son make these crazy, wonderful videos, and they share. Adam has a series where he's sharing really cool ideas for things you can do and learn how to do within the game of Minecraft. So, he did this thing that I ended up making a poetry stroll, where as you walk along a path, it keeps telling you the lines of Robert Frost's The Road Not Taken. And of course, I made it through a wooded area, and then at the end, you come to this beautiful lake. Oh, I shouldn't have spoiled it for you, but I learned that from Adam. And he and his son do this. They're doing a series that just seems to be going on forever, of just stuff that they started out playing Minecraft, and they're discovering things as they play, and they're totally doing. It's a let's play video, kind of like Stampy Cat does, but it's him and his son, and it's so much fun. It's really, I mean, I could listen to British people talk all day, but um, his videos are great, and it's really got the right kind of exciting, enthusiastic, I want to learn what happens when we do this kind of attitude. And Adam is actually an artist. He and his wife, I think, are both artists. I think his wife might be a poet, but I'm not sure. So they run a lot of community-based art stuff up in northern England where they're from, and he just has a really great sharing spirit. So he and I have talked a little bit about doing some collaborations and stuff. But I just love his videos. After Merit was done, I spent about a week or two where I would watch 1 to 5 of his videos a night, and I was working my way through several of his series. But he's got a great YouTube channel with lots of good stuff on it. And he just, he's a really nice guy.
Okay.
And then my third is also Minecraft related. I should probably say Jennifer Klosko is also learning how to play Minecraft. At Natomas Charter, they have a program where they have middle schoolers teaching teachers how to play Minecraft. And so I think they call it Minecraft Mondays or something, but it's a Minecraft mentoring program. So my third person that I want to share is John Miller. He and I did our master's program together at San Diego State between 2008 and 2010, and that's how we met. And during our master's program, we had a class, a 1-credit seminar class in Second Life. The entire class took place in Second Life.
Oh, wow.
And we did a bunch of different stuff together during our program, but the Second Life experience was really fun, and John and I really enjoyed it. But there were things about Second Life that I was like, yeah, but, and then they got rid of Teen Second Life, so there's no way I was ever going to be able to use it with students. But I was kind of craving something that could fill that void, that where students can immerse themselves in a learning environment. So, of course, Minecraft comes along, and John and I happened to get interested in it, independent of each other, around the same time. And so he used to be Room 162, which is not him anymore on Twitter. He's John Miller EDU, and he teaches 7th grade history in California, and his student population is kids who don't have computers or internet at home for the most part. Many of them have never seen or even heard of Minecraft, and then they get in this class, and they have to build the ancient Chinese city of Shangan or a medieval village, and they're each assigned something, and they have to learn in depth about it and then build it in this world they're all sharing. And he pretty much has standing room only every lunch period during his projects because the kids only can work on it at school because they don't have access outside of school. It's a lot of kids that are in a poverty situation, but he's saying, you know what, that doesn't mean you don't get to have these experiences. So he's doing some really great stuff, and he is one of the most amazing people I've ever met. I say that in all honesty. He's a wonderful guy, super amazing educator, amazingly supportive friend. So I thought that if anybody's interested in kind of any of the stuff that I'm into, they should definitely be following John. And I don't know how many followers he has, but I think it's under 2,000.
Okay. That's good. I thought John and Carl Lindgren Striker, some of the most amazing men you've ever met.
That's true. Do you get paid for every time you mention Carl's name?
It's just fun to say. It's hyphenated. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Look at my laugh. A fairy gets their wings every time we mention Carl Lindgren Striker on it.
No, actually,
okay.
every time we say his name, he will buy me another beverage when I come see him in October.
Oh, is that the way?
Mm-hmm.
I owe him. Every time he takes me to the hospital when I'm at a conference with him, I owe him 10 mentions on Techlandia. All right, go ahead. All right, so Dan, I'm looking over the doc. All right, now I know we skipped around and we added one. Mm-hmm. Would you like to go ahead and talk about books? Because Kurt loves books.
So I do want to share about this book because as people who follow me may or may not know, in early May, we found out that my son has a diagnosis of mild autism, basically Asperger's, but that under the DSM-5 no longer exists all of a sudden, so autism spectrum disorder. And so my husband and I spent our summer reading a lot about autism and Asperger's, and it just so happened that right around the time of his diagnosis, a journalist, professional journalist named Ron Suskind appeared on, I think it was Colbert, and if not Colbert, then Jon Stewart, but one of those amazing shows. And he was talking about this book that he wrote, Life Animated. As it turns out, Suskind has 2 sons, and the younger of the 2 is Owen, and he has autism. And long story short, they figured out that he was using Disney films to communicate. He was watching them over and over again, and as his brother and his parents kind of watched them with him and started acting things out, each member of the family started to discover there were ways he was using these things to communicate. And so the book, Life Animated, takes you from basically when Owen was 3 and first began to exhibit signs of autism all the way through his adulthood and all of the different things that have happened along the way. And it's a deeply personal, revealing story about what their family went through, but also it's just fantastic because it sheds light on autism and things about autism that people just don't get. Not because they don't want to or because there's not information out there, because we're still learning so much, right? And just that there are ways to communicate, but each person with autism is going to have different ones. So it's a fantastic read. It's a really easy to read book, although at times really emotionally challenging because you're reading about some very deep stuff. But our next door neighbor has 2 kids, and her son has autism. He's almost 4, and I said to her, "Hey, I have this book I want you to read," and she goes, "Oh, my sister just finished it and handed it to me." So they're already like they'd heard about it too, and it's just a really great book because for people going through a new diagnosis and then learning so much about autism and Asperger's and reading what this family went through, it gives a lot of hope, and it also really portrays people with autism in a light that most people aren't revealing. Most people aren't showing this side of autism where they're not shut out to the world. They're not incapable. It's just we have to figure out the right way in, and for each person with autism, that looks different. So it's just really, really neat to see how things all develop and all the different things they had to do and try and go through. Because don't forget, this is over the last 20 some odd years, and a lot has changed in what we know about autism in that time. So it's just a really great book. If you're going to read one book about autism, it's a much more readable book than some of the more handbook type things. It's a story, but it's a true story. So I really enjoyed it a lot, and my husband did too. So I recommend it.
I have to say, so tonight I probably had one of those moments where sometimes you run out of patience. I think that my son has taught me to be a much more patient person and appreciate things a little bit more, my autistic son. And today it was like, we're renting a house now, so we're in a smaller space, half the size that we, used to be in. And my daughter just sat down to do her homework. Now that's like a miracle in itself. And so I said, "Gwen, do you want the lights on?" So I flipped on the lights real quick, and my son came over immediately and turned them off because he didn't want the lights on. And I just looked at him and I was like, "Okay, dude," I'm like, "your sister needs the lights on." I'm like, "Well, what about I'm like, "Here, I'll put on the TV," and it had one of his favorite things is it had one of his favorite cartoons on. We just got TV yesterday, so we were thrilled to get TV. And he wouldn't watch it. And I'm like, "Buddy, I've given you some options here." I'm like, and he couldn't get past the fact that Gwen turned on this light, and that just affected him. So I actually had him run to the store. I actually chilled him out he went with me to go get Chinese food. That's what he did, and he just went in the car with me. But there are just those times where you're like, I've tried to give you some outs here before the fit,
Yeah.
It's just a light, and
we're learning about those ways to reset.
Mm-hmm.
Because we figured out that that's what our son does a lot of the time. And we've been observing him over the summer when he hasn't had school stuff hanging over him and homework and things, and watched as he has developed his own stuff that he does. There was a while where he was going in 20-minute cycles, approximately 20 minutes. He would play with Legos in his room, which are great for his motor coordination, but then I think his hands get tired because he does have issues with motor coordination. Then he would watch videos on his iPad for about 20 minutes. Then he would all of his own get on this yoga ball and roll himself around on it. And then he would keep going back. And my husband was observing a couple times when I was away, and he said he did that, like 4 or 5 cycles of that, without nobody said anything to him. He figured out what worked for him and what felt right. Yeah. And so we're using that as kind of just what does he do if we don't mess with it, right? And so we realized if he's doing something like writing, and that's not going to last more than 20 minutes. Now, as it turns out, he's decided he can watch his iPad and videos on that for hours on end apparently now, because he
Well,
discovered
who can't? Who can't?
Stampy and other Minecraft videos, right? But he's been watching everything that Stampy ever made. He's another Minecraft video creator, and so between that and watching movies about World War II, he's finding endless content to watch, and we have to limit him now. But if it was interesting to see, like, we didn't say to him, take a break, take a rest, and he was doing it. Now he's kind of gravitating toward the one thing, although now that school starts, he's not able to do as much of that. But it's just interesting. We're trying to help him figure out how he can see that the restlessness or the need to reset is coming on, and then help him figure out how to do that at school so that he doesn't lose it.
Right, it's interesting. My boy has gotten so much better. Everybody always tells me when you're so close to him, sometimes you don't see it as much. You don't see the growth, and then every once in a while somebody will come and be like, "Boy, Michael," and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, it's pay off." The one thing that I think is hilarious in all this is that what he will do on YouTube now, and this is I think makes me laugh so much, is he'll look at old 80s videos of commercials for toys. So he saw this one Transformer and he really wants it, and then I'll look it up and it's like $200 and I'm like, Michael, I can't get that one for you. It's a collector's item. And there's these stupid like ghouly stretcher things, and I looked them up and I'm like, oh gosh, Michael, I'm like, those are like $45. They're like classic toys. I can't keep getting you. I think he was born 3 decades too late, is what I think. He loves the 80s toys, and it just makes me laugh. And I'm like, I don't know. You're going to have to ask your Grandpa Bob for the $45 stretchy toy off eBay. I can't help you there. But it's funny. For every little frustration, like I just say that today because I was actually just kind of like, there's one of those times where I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't have the patience to do this today. And then you have those every once in a while. I don't have them too much, but that was one of them today.
All right, John. Okay, John.
It's a challenge.
All right, if the dream of the '90s is live in Portland.
Oh, go ahead.
If the dream of the '90s is live in Portland, or the dream of the '80s is alive, Salt Lake City.
At Beaverton.
Where is it? Beaverton. I don't know. No, for your boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even understand what you're talking about.
I don't know where the dream of the '80s is alive in.
I went through
where they have the dream of that's.
That was my middle school and high school years, the '80s. I remember them fondly. But I might have a Castle Grayskull in New Jersey, so if I find that, I might ship it to him.
Hey, that would work. That would work. I know, Diane, we're pretty much the same age. I have a feeling. What year did you graduate high school?
88.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation before.
Yeah, we have had this one. All right, so go ahead. Well, so right, autism is interesting. All right, I will. You know what? I will read that book. That sounds very interesting, and I think I need to read a book. I think I need to become more Kurt Rees-like. I need to become more studious. I need to do that. There's some things time is always a factor, though.
Just one.
Time. Time is the biggest factor. All right, go ahead and would you? All right, so let's go, Diane. Let's finish off with something that is really hilarious that you do, and you can tell as many stories as you want about this. But song, all right, we touched on a little bit the song parody. You actually at ISF, you actually had a song parody class where you taught, and I watched the process.
That a couple times, yeah.
And it was amazing. So yeah, tell us just about quickly about the process at ISF, because I thought it was awesome, and I think I could totally do one now if I sat there and just using the Diane Main proven method of song parody.
So I like to use GarageBand because it's what I have, it's what I'm comfortable with. You can do this with Audacity, but I'm more familiar with GarageBand, and it works a little easier with songs that you might already have in your iTunes or can buy through iTunes. So basically, I have a Google Doc with the original lyrics of the song, and then next to it I write in the parody lyrics. I usually get the actual song and the karaoke version of the song, and I get really, if I don't already know the regular song really well, I get really familiar with it. And then I just sit and I'll listen to the song a bunch of times, and I start to kind of fill in stuff with parody lyrics that can replace the original lyrics. Then what I end up doing is pulling the karaoke version of the song into GarageBand and then recording what I've come up with. And sometimes I have to record some background vocals, sometimes I have to do harmonies. It just really depends. But what I find is I know it's going to be good when I'm still drafting the lyrics, and I'm laughing out loud, and I'm all like, my family will walk through and be like, what? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so good. And they're like, oh, you're writing parody, okay. But sometimes I write them in the car. I've been known to, dictate a voice memo because I don't want to forget something that comes to me in the car. In my phone, I have an iPhone, so in the Notes app, I have OneNote that's just song parody ideas. A lot of them are related to some content area. I'll hear a song and I'll be like, oh, that totally needs to be a song about blah, 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 right? And it could be math, it could be English, it could be whatever. And so, like, I've been meaning to write Here Comes the Sun about photosynthesis. Plants need the sun. It's been on my list forever. So this past summer I did it, but I haven't made the video yet. I had somebody who was going to make the video for me, but he got another job and got super busy. So at some point I'll just make the video and then I'll put it out on YouTube. And I'm actually, I've set up a new channel called Set to Music where I'm going to be putting all my song parodies.
Okay.
But I need to make videos I have a lot of audio recorded already, and I don't have videos made yet. Also this summer I recorded How to Walk in Line to How to Save a Life by The Fray.
Oh, there we go.
And I've got some other fun ones too. Like I have one to the tune of Yesterday that's about, it's called 30 Days, how many days are in each month. Talks about the rules for leap year. That one I wrote everything except the leap year part in the car driving my son to school a couple years ago. Just because I've always done that, and so it's just a matter of formalizing it. And then, record it, make sure it's perfect, export it as an MP3 right from GarageBand, and then when I make videos, I bring it into something like Camtasia. I'll usually use PowerPoint to make slides and just kind of run through the slides to the music, scrap out the audio, put in my real, audio that I want it to have, and a video is born. So it's a fun process. I enjoy it a lot. I think it stretches me and keeps my brain really active because some pieces of my job can be mundane and not the things I enjoy the most. Not all of it. Most of it I get to just spend a lot of time doing cool stuff with teachers and helping them come up with new ideas. But it's the thing that's for me that I feel like it's for me and then I get to share it. So. But the process, I actually have slides that take you through the steps of the process. I don't generally do it unless I can have at least 2 hours for a workshop. I've done it for Rockstar. I've done it for some of the integrated events. But it takes 2 hours because I've done it where a whole group will record a song together, or someone in the group will write a song. When we were in Monterey at one of the Q Rockstars this past summer, a gal wrote a song and then we all recorded it for her. And it was about different kinds of like producers, consumers, decomposers, but it was to George Michael's Faith. And we all sang it, and somebody shot a video of us singing it. Like they took their phone out and they were shooting it.
So that is like a fascinating combination. So producers, consumers, decomposers, and Faith.
And George Michael. But it's fun.
Is that online somewhere? I have to see that.
It is on YouTube. I'll have to go and find a link to it again, but remind me and I'll go look that out for you. And the funny thing was, she wrote it all, and I just kind of orchestrated the playing of the karaoke version because, as it so happened, I did own that song already. And and some gal just took out her phone and tweeted it as soon as she was done recording it and putting it up to YouTube. So it's just that whole process kind of unleashes a creative spirit in people, and sometimes people are like, I had no idea I could have done that. And that's what's fun about it, For me, it's like I'm just having fun creating stuff with people. I don't feel like I'm better or whatever, just having a ton of fun.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I saw you put the Google Doc up. You made like 2 columns. You took the lyrics, you found the lyrics online, you put them down the one column and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. I forget what I think the lady at Integrate Ed wanted to do something with like triangles or something like that. Do you remember that one?
You know what? So she and I were in a session by ourselves. She's in the merit cohort right now.
Oh, is she? Okay.
She's at Lisa Delapo School. Her name's Debbie DeCudro. And she actually just won 2 or 3 Chromebooks, 2 Chromebooks at EdCamp SF But we did a thing. She's a music teacher, and so we did a thing about the names of the lines and the spaces in the bass and treble clefs.
That's right. Okay,
and it was California Girls by Katy Perry.
That's right. I remember that part.
So it's called Lines and Spaces, and we recorded the whole thing. We just have to do the Snoop Dogg rap part. And I made a little clip of a video of an animation for the Lines and Spaces part. But there's a whole lot more video that would need to be made for that. But she was taking it back to her kids, and they were going to do some things with it. They were going to play around with it. They were going to make variations on it and stuff. And I was like, that's totally cool. Just get. And she teaches music, so she's got the chops to do it. She may not have the content that other teachers have. She just has to figure out a way to apply it. And I love music, so it was fun to do something where the content was music related. So.
It was interesting. It was fun to watch. I kept coming in on my breaks and like chiming in real quick. Or I'd come in and look and watch for a little bit. I was like, that looks so fun.
I will tell you a hidden gem on my website. So DianeMain.com has a frequently asked questions page.
Okay.
On there, there are 3 important things. One, explain my Twitter handle, which I've already done on the show. 2, I explain what's going on with the hair, because there's 4 phases of the hair. It helps to understand them. And 3, I provide a link to my song parodies. So pretty much everything I've recorded is, I can't remember if it's linking to Dropbox or Google Drive, but I think it's a Google Drive folder. Anybody can take those and use them. I'm not going to try to ever sell them because it's not, first of all, the karaoke versions are copyrighted, so I'd be in violation of copyright. Mm-hmm. As it is, they're protected because of free speech and parody, both because it's parody and because it's educational in nature. That's why my videos don't get flagged on YouTube. Well, they get flagged, and then I can contest them. There's only one that I didn't further contest because it's about Google, and it could be argued that it's commercial in nature. But most of my songs... I remember
you talking about that
one.
I remember
most of my songs I don't have videos for yet. Someday I will. But it's one of those things that's on... My to-do list at work of the things I was supposed to get done today is still mostly undone. So these videos getting made are not, super likely anytime soon. But sometimes I'll just
get them. I'm telling you, if we only had 48 hours in the day, we'd get stuff done.
I know, right? So, yeah, I love to do it. I just it does take some time. So
it takes time. Well, I know a podcast Kurt that got in trouble for copyright one time. We got our wrist slapped a couple times there, right?
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh boy, yeah.
Everything from TeacherCast.
From TeacherCast. That Jeff Bradbury, he needs to quit.
He's an outlaw. He's a good-looking rebel who doesn't play by the rules.
That's right, Jeff Bradbury. You got to watch out for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to that guy for a while. Well, Diane, thank you for coming on here. We appreciate we appreciate everything you do, and I'll definitely take a look at that book then, because I need to read more. If it wasn't for that stupid, it's just like our enemy right now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We could do so much better stuff. But thank you for coming on, and if you can even if you can just make it down to Integrate Ed San Francisco in 1 month. You can watch Kurt Rees, #1, give 2 stunning presentations. But then, maybe you can just blow off Saturday. Maybe you just come down Friday and blow off Saturday when you're all busy doing stuff like your homecoming.
Friday, so I might have to do homecoming stuff related to Spirit Week that day. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
That's Hudgy Bear. Why is he scheduling it during homecoming? That's silly, man.
Because it's not everybody's.
He didn't ask.
He's like, Diane, I need to know when homecoming is and if that affects you.
I think he needs to ask you. I think he needs to ask your permission for what weekend to put it on in San Francisco. If he didn't ask Carl Lindgren Striker Omelet, it's going to be words I'm going to have with Hutchins. Words.
There's a lot of weekends I can't do, so he could have asked, and I'd have been like, can't be this one, can't be this one, can't be this one. He'd be like, what is it with you? So it's fine.
They'd just be like, forget it. The real reason is he asked Kurt, and he said, Kurt, what weekend is best for you?
He did. That's true.
Kurt,
I'm going to Portland and I'm going to Boise, but I'm not going up the road an hour from my house.
That's right. Isn't that funny? Well, that's good. As long as you come to Portland, that's the good one. We know where Portland is #1 in our book. And if Allison Anderson was here, she'd say, "Yes, John, it is #1."
Yep, it is our band camp. Portland is.
It is. It's our band camp. So thanks for being on.
PDX, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, we appreciate you being on here. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you in a month, Diane. And I hope I get down there at this point too. Who knows how things are going? But we know Kurt will be there for sure. We'll try and steal old Ted Rosisi down there, and once school gets going, I'm sure it'll be fine. Kurt, do you have any interesting anecdotes? First 2 days of school, any interesting anecdotes besides that you have not lost? Kurt Rees has not lost any kids off of this campus so far?
No, I don't have any antidotes, but I do have anecdotes.
Okay.
And that
anecdotes
is...
or stories, antidotes.
Do you have any antidotes?
I don't. No antidotes. But here's what I know. Parents like it when you drop their kid off at their house. They greatly appreciate that on the bus.
Wow.
Wow.
You drive a bus?
I did ride you know what? I did ride a bus today. I didn't drive it because I don't have my CDL, but I got on the bus. I pulled up what's that big company out of Mountain View, California that does all the computer stuff? Google.
The Googles?
The Googles. I used the Google Maps, and I went and picked up a kid and brought him back to school, and it was awesome. He was happy to be there.
There you go. That Googles, I've heard a lot about that. We should use that in EdTech sometime, the Googles.
Yeah, I don't know if they're ever going to get traded publicly, but I have a feeling
If they did.
if you ever want to invest some money, they'd be the company to do it.
I heard they hired Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, so their stock might be on the rise.
Was it Owen Wilson or Luke Wilson?
No, Luke's the one with brown hair. Owen's the one that has blonde.
I like Luke. Sorry.
Looks good. So I think they're both clutch, and I like both the Wilson brothers. Allison, do you have any last words for us?
No, I don't.
No, I don't. Not really. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip side.